So you're thinking about running, but not sure how to take the first step. My name is Brian Patterson, and I'm here to help. Welcome to Brian's Run Pod. Welcome back to the podcast, and it's me, Brian Patterson, to give you an insight into all things running. Well, in the second part of our this episode, with my chat with Paula and Molly from St. Margaret's Physio, we discussed the best advice for runners who suffer from overuse injuries, for instance, IT band syndrome, shin splints, and others. Also, we discussed the synergy between sports massage and seeing a physio at their clinic. I really enjoyed our chat, and I know with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So let's get into a bit more specifics in terms of common injuries that sort of, runners do get in terms of things like, IT band syndrome, shin splints, something I've just suffered from recently, which is the plantar, whatever. Is there anything? Yeah, I can never completely say the whole word. I'm not sure why. But these kind of overuse injuries. I mean, is there any one thing that you would advise people who are starting on their running journey or who have regular runners? That is it something that you say, well, look, you are going to get injured at some stage or something like that, or are there any things that you need to be doing regularly so you don't get injured as much?
Yeah. So for many people, like most of the times, I already see the person when they are injured.
Yeah.
But if you are not yet, you're listening to this podcast and feel like I want to prevent injuries in the future, then I would definitely say that thinking about your training load and exposure is the first thing you want to think about.
Excellent.
So understanding how much you are running, how does that make you feel, and also your recovery. So those actually two things come together: recovery, rest recovery, and your training load. Because every time when you go for a run, that's a stress to your system.
Yeah.
And the same as like sitting at work and having stressful deadlines or anything like that is also stress in for your body. So sometimes when your running app or your running plan tells you need to do XYZ amount per week and do this run at this pace and so on, the app doesn't know you and doesn't understand maybe how you feel at that week or that time.
Very good point.
So often,
because I know a lot of people. I mean, I'm guilty as one. Is that I do use an app, whatever,
which is great.
Which is
you need a plan.
Yeah, because I know some people especially me. I like that guidance. But you do raise a very good point that it's not like someone telling you or saying, that the benefits of having a coach is someone who can assess you on a one-to-one and they know
and
what you're like.
It's like a live feedback you would have with the real person. With the app, you don't have necessarily live feedback. So this is where, if you are using a training take that as a guidance rather than a strict, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And adjust the sessions. For many people, I usually say repeating the same week or repeating the same workout multiple times before you move on to the next stage is a good way how to go about it as well.
Right.
And then also talking about training load, usually kind of ballpark is like increasing no more than 10% weekly than you have been running previous week.
Okay.
Not jumping ahead too much.
Okay.
Just because the deadline of the run is coming up.
Yeah.
So gradual increase of the load. A bit also thinking about strength training. So that would be another thing.
Yeah. Good
alongside
point.
Yeah. So strength training is definitely something we as runners or people as runners, they need to do because running, although it is you train yourself for the activity, but it's not giving you enough stimulus to your muscle to tolerate the activity.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of find a level of strength training you enjoy doing and can do either at home or in the gym. So whatever is kind of your way of training or getting the strength training in. And then another thing is thinking about your footwear.
Yes.
Also, I don't give advice necessary about what shoes to buy and how to do it. I send them off to a person, but I always check in, like, how is your footwear?
Yeah.
Is it supporting? Is it supportive for you?
Yeah.
Because with that is also the thing that one thing doesn't fit everyone.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to find your shoes.
And also I find that, well, especially now, because although running has become quite popular, I think but also at the same time, buying footwear can be very confusing, but also very expensive.
Yeah.
You are looking at, like spending like £100 or more.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you get advice for that because like you said, wearing the wrong footwear can obviously have an impact on your spine.
It usually starts with the ankles and then it kind of like may affect your knees or hips to start with. But yeah, you would notice if you would be like, oh, something is hurting because I went for a run.
Yeah.
With a new shoes and it just doesn't go away every time when I run kind of.
Yeah. Can you explain, to the uninitiated, what is an IT band injury?
Oh, okay.
Right, okay.
IT band, basically we have, if you think about your thigh from the front and the side of the outside, so we have a little muscle here at the top of our hips.
Yeah.
It's called TFL, tensor fascial lata, I think. This is my anatomy knowledge now is being tested.
Yeah.
But that little muscle joins into this more like a fascia-like structure, which sits on the side of our thigh, and it goes kind of just here and crosses, like kind of goes down over the knee on the side, and then it sits on the side of the knee, basically.
Right. Okay.
And so and it's there to support your leg, take the load.
Yeah.
And keep things in place. Yeah. So when we run, we move our hip joint and the knee joint at the same time, and that can cause the friction in the IT band.
Right. Okay.
And then if it's irritated, you can get pain after prolonged running.
Right.
Or depending on what you're tolerant, but basically the movement will then cause the irritation.
So again, it's an overuse injury.
Yes. IT band.
And so would the treatment be kind of looking to you, Molly, but I mean, I don't know, would it be a sports massage or would there be?
So with all overuse injuries, so you have to understand that why it's overused. So something in your biomechanics is not quite doing enough or something is doing too much. Right. So with IT band, usually I find that if people so your knee kind of goes inwards, we call it valgus knee. So then that can put extra pressure, extra workload on the IT band, and just weakness around your glutes because you can't keep your hip without dipping and things like that. Then can cause IT band syndrome again.
Okay.
Yeah. So massage would be optional, but it's not really like a treatment.
Yeah. You wouldn't necessarily go for a massage just for that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. But you're basically you're kind of analysing the biomechanics as to why it's caused that, and then maybe you might, what would your prescription be? Would it?
Yeah. So basically, let's say you have this IT band syndrome. You come in, and I would put you on a treadmill, ask you to run a little bit, and then in the moment, I would film you and see what's kind of happening, and then in slow motion, I would slow down the video just to see kind of where your feet, your knees, your hips are moving. What is your spine doing and your shoulders to assess kind of what's happening with the movement when you are running.
Yeah.
And then that would then give me a opportunity to be like, oh, it looks like you are doing this too much or too little.
All right.
And then working on the areas to kind of help to balance things out.
And so in terms of another question, like, as I said, for people who are like me, sort of, 8 hours, 6 hours sitting down at a desk, typing away. And then I do 3 to 4 times a week. I might go running or go to the gym or something like that. But I think as I've got older, then, I do have problems with my hips sort of thing. Or maybe I might get sore hips after running.
Yeah.
What is there anything I could be doing to help kind of alleviate that?
Yep. So again, understanding like why your hips get tight or sore.
Yeah.
So usually something gets tight or sore is because it's working too hard.
Yeah.
Or the muscle part has to work because the other leg is not doing enough. So it's compensating. So that builds up the muscle tension in your body.
Yeah.
We can live with certain amount of tension and not even notice it's there and it doesn't bother us. But then slowly, gradually, it will creep up and become an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, like if you are at early stage of like, oh, my muscles just feel tight, you can always go and see a massage therapist and then they can like, just help you to like reduce the tension. Yeah. But in the meantime, while you're doing that, you should also work on like strengthening your glutes. So making sure you have enough strength around your muscles around your hips, but also full range of movement as much as possible in your hips. So the mobility of hips, so that there is a full range of movement in your hip joint as much as possible. So that when you swing legs through while you are running, you don't need to compensate.
Yeah.
To get the leg through.
Because I know when I went to a physio, he said he kind of identified it being the gluteus medius, which is the...
Yeah, so that's a muscle sitting on the kind of like the side of your hip. And it's very important muscle in a sense because when we run, you spend quite a bit of time on one leg, single leg. Moment of just being on one leg. Yeah. And that's in that moment... that glute medius muscle has to make sure that your hip doesn't drop on one side. So it works really hard to stabilize your hips. Yeah. If there is weakness around that area, then you will just feel like the muscle is not supported and it has to work really hard. Yeah. And that's where you probably feel tension after your runs there because they just can't tolerate the workload, what they need to be doing.
Yeah. But also going back to what you were just saying is that sometimes doing less is more in a way, in that you're having to, like sometimes I might not, run for a week and then maybe I might go back to it and maybe not do as much and then it doesn't, it doesn't hurt,
Sometimes you might think you might aim for a 10K, but actually 5K is what suits your body better that day sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing because I think during the pandemic, I was doing, maybe it's because I had the time and also the time of day I could run. I was doing like a 10K program, but now I'm a lot older. and so I'm doing like a 5K one, but I kind of enjoy it. That's fine. It's still I'm still getting that variability in terms of the types of runs I'm doing, like tempo runs or interval training or like a recovery run or that kind of thing, and playing around with it. I'm not that. I'm never going to be doing a marathon or half or whatever, but I'm still enjoying the running, even though it's just
yeah. And this is the thing as well, for people to find the distance what they want to run.
Yeah.
I recently had a client and he's like, they started running as a wife and husband.
Yeah.
And they just kept running. And then when they reached to like 12-mile runs, that's where they started getting injured.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I'm like, why are you running 12 miles? Like, why are you running the distance? Yeah. And he's like, I don't know. And it's not to say that you shouldn't be running that distance. Obviously, you can. Yeah. But do you need to do it every week or kind of consistently if your body's not ready for it?
Especially with these days, I don't know what it is for this ultra craze. I don't know where people find the time. I don't know if your clients are doing it, or something like that. But I mean, every other running podcast I listen to, then it's I've done 40 miles or I'm doing a 50 or something like that. So I don't know whether
there's a lot. There is.
It's just
I mean, it's okay. Like as I said, running is, you kind of just have to decide what fits your schedule, your day-to-day activities, like your, body, in a sense that you don't get injured, but you still can enjoy running. And then, of course, if you want to, participate in competitions and run like bigger distances, then just taking the time and effort to prepare for it, all your body, not just the running sessions.
Yeah. So just moving on to the next bit, basically, is there that crossover with some clients where they might use both of your services and sort of you collaborate, because I understand you, Molly, you've just been working here for like, say, 4 months. And so is there that synergy between you, and how does that work?
Yeah, so often before Molly joined, I would do sports massage sessions myself. So I would do both physio and sports massage. And then often I would have people coming in for massage therapy. But then during the session, in getting into conversation, we actually realized that it's more like a long-standing issue, not just like a little bit of tightness because I started running a little bit more. And then I would recommend coming in for a physio session and doing the full assessment, just seeing like what's happening. Yeah. So now I can use Molly. I can send them towards Molly, and so either Molly, again, if she identifies that it's more like a ongoing issue.
Yeah. It's sort of I can identify certain symptoms where I think, well, this is more of a Paula physio side. So if it's an ongoing injury or something, I know for me that it's now sort of advising have a session with Paula so that you can get better results really from that, working hand in hand together.
Yeah. All right. That's fantastic. And so are they common, injuries that you would deal with, or is it kind of like it really doesn't matter?
Yeah. It doesn't really matter really. No, it could be anything. Yeah.
And where do you find, but how do people find you? Is it basically they're finding you through the website, or is it?
Well, from my ad managers, I think it works from just finding online. So when people are in pain, they usually, go physio near me or deep sports massage near me.
Yeah.
There's obviously lots of local traffic when they see that there is a gym here in the physio clinic from just passing by. And then we have lots of members of the gym as well coming in, 40 people. And then, we recently have been quite active on Instagram as well. So
seems to be a good one. Yeah.
Attract the just awareness of that we are here.
Yeah, and I think also like the business cards you've had made are quite useful as well. We can always hand out a business card, and sometimes people will say, "Oh, I actually have a colleague who needs a sports massage." Then you can sort of give them their business cards and the sign outside that says we're here.
Yeah.
So,
is there one thing, Molly, that people aren't sort of if you could sort of say to somebody who isn't aware of a sports massage, is there one thing that you could, you can put in a sentence and say sports massage is this? Can you?
So what, like advertising it as that they need a sports massage?
That's like, why would they
Well, it's just that sometimes people might not know what it is, what the real benefit is. I know we kind of touched on it earlier, sort of thing. Yeah. But it's just sometimes you kind of, maybe some people will think, I've never had one, but it's just that maybe they would have saying what would be the main benefit, let's say to someone like that.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess, I think sometimes as well, it's once you've had the first one, I think that's when you notice the benefits. So that's always quite a good thing. So a lot of people, as we stated at the start, might think, sports massage a bit too much. Or another thing as well is people say, I don't do sports, so why would I need a sports massage? But again, I think people have to try and get that out of their head, because it's not necessarily for sporty people all the time. So I think it's also just a case of like, if you're noticing your body is feeling a bit different to how it normally is, a massage is generally going to be something that's actually very, very useful. And it's sort of educating people on the benefits, like the reduce of tension, getting your sort of optimized results of better sort of training and things like that. Yeah. And that's when you're going to learn to sort of realize that actually having a massage works very well hand in hand with your day-to-day life, even if that's work or if it's sort of work and doing sort of gym classes as well. So because a lot of people sort of, even if it's not necessarily a sport injury, might come because they're sat at their desk and their posture's sort of rolled their shoulders over so much.
Or like that.
Yeah.
Looking at the phone.
Yeah. And also another one that's quite common is like in driving a car, sort of the steering wheel is sort of your chair's maybe not quite in the right position. So it's every day-to-day things that you don't necessarily think about that massage can generally help with, as well as the common reducing the tension, etc.
Because I think something that I've become really aware of, because my father he has dementia and he's in the home, but something that's really highlighted to me is how it's so important for us as human beings to be moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's so, because we are humans and, we are made to be, we have arms and legs and we need to be moving sort of thing. And so it's like during time, although we kind of sit behind desks, it is kind of a bit kind of not a very natural situation, is it?
And I think the amount of people you talk to as well who always complain about their office chair not being quite right. So it's again, you're in a position probably maybe 8 hours of the day where you might only move for an hour at lunch, if not work through the lunch hour, where you're then sat in a very sort of unnatural position. Yeah. So again,
exactly. And so you're kind of helping release that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah.
I probably would add here is like I would say, if I would have to answer this question, massage is like a lazy way how to make your body feel better.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you can take a little bit of pressure and like, deal with the
So not only
release.
do you get the endorphins from the running, but also you can get those endorphins from...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely,
And it's just introducing a little bit more movement in the tissue. And like muscles or in your skin to like make you feel a little bit better. So if you don't like stretching or mobility work, then massage is one way how you can kind of crawl back in there and make your body feel a bit better.
Paula, I mean, like I asked Molly about sort of some like success stories, because I know you said there was someone who was there anyone else from, who you've been treating?
So my client recently, he did his half marathon and now he's training for a marathon. He started his marathon training or will start in a couple of weeks' time. But he came to me, and at the time he was doing maybe like 5-6 Ks, but he wanted to do his 10K and then the half marathon. I think I started working with him in the summer.
Yeah.
So issues with shins, like he's like, this pain is outrageous. I don't think I can run. I don't think it will ever go away.
Yeah.
Initially when someone says that, you're like, obviously my NHS trained red flags just goes up, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Okay.
But actually, it again, just a strength and tension related issue, which we have resolved over time. And he has done his 10K race. He did his half marathon now a couple of weeks ago, and he will now start training for his marathon and just learning how to do strength training. So very much running, but no clue how to strength train. Lack of awareness of the body. So when he did, let's say, do squats, just not quite going through the movement in the correct way. So then it doesn't get the right muscles working, if that makes sense. So that was kind of very nice to see the change in his ability over time.
I do have one question on the strength training side, is that basically, is it best for someone to be doing more reps, or should they be doing less reps with more higher weight?
So recently there was a research coming out saying that actually you can benefit, the strength will increase regardless of what you're doing.
Okay.
But obviously the different muscle fibers, we have like a different...
Slowly 5 to...
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's just like which one will fire first. I haven't read the research paper myself, so don't quote me on this. But, so the research have come out. If you do any form of strength training, you will get stronger eventually.
Right.
My general advice for people is when you take a weight in your hands and you're using some weight, I would like you to feel on your per set. So, sets and reps. When you start finishing your set, on the repetition between 6 and 8, you should feel like, I don't know if I can do the 8th one. Okay. Then you are working hard enough, and you will definitely get stronger quite quickly.
Okay. So you say maybe a 6 to 8 range. Yeah.
I mean, there's, again, like everyone, can do different things, and there is lots of research out there of all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But just what I recommend usually to clients in terms of when they do strength training, somewhere between 6 and 8, and then you want to finish your set feeling like, wow, that was hard.
Right.
Or like I really had to,
And should they be doing, like, say, like compound exercises?
Yeah. So for runners, what I always would do is do single leg movements for lower body.
Okay.
So focusing like not just squat or deadlift, but single leg RDLs, Bulgarian split squats, because you do spend time on one leg when you run. So it's, you need to make sure that both legs are strong. But what we tend to do when we do double leg movements like squat or deadlift, you will always unconsciously just use your stronger leg slightly more, because those are the muscle fibers which fires quicker and takes the load a little bit more. Even if it's like 2%, but over repetitions, what you are doing, it does add up. So you want to really isolate each leg as much as possible throughout the reps and the exercise you are doing.
So that could be single leg extensions.
Yeah, exactly. Single leg extensions. My favorites are Bulgarian split squat, doing walking lunges, like curty lunge. Like, so basically where you have to use one leg to push through, or like step ups. If you start incorporating, depending on your experience and level of strength where you are in terms of your strength training journey, you can make things more complicated once you start bringing things overhead movements, especially for runners, to engage your core and kind of core control, which then helps as well.
And have you found that, to me, that's a question to both of you, is that do people sort of ignore, although I know they're running and they use the legs, but do they kind of ignore the core?
I would say so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess because they're kind of focusing on, like you said, using the legs. It's sort of maybe the rest of the body slightly gets a little bit forgotten about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or just the control of still, holding your midsection and then using your legs at the same time to have that control of the movement. So that's kind of what you want to aim for.
It's all connected as it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And especially when you move in emotion.
Yes.
When you run.
Right.
It makes it a little bit more harder.
Right. Yep. Is there anything you would like to say apart from what we've covered already? Because you've been very kind, giving your time sort of thing. We're nearly coming up to an hour. So that you would like to sort of at least, tell our audience.
From the physio perspective, I would say, if you do like running, or you want to get back into running, but you feel like either someone have said to you that you can't run, or you feel like you can't run because you have this injury always and forever, it comes up in certain, when you get to certain distance, I think you should, that's when you should go to a physiotherapist and be like, I really want to get back into running, and just take a faith leap that it will work and just stick with it. And then, instead of just say, I can't do it, hence I'm never going to run.
Yeah. And I think adding on to that, it's it can work part and parcel. You can get to that result that you do want if you kind of, like Paula said, don't be afraid to come and have a chat. And, even if it doesn't necessarily mean we perform a massage, you can still have that conversation to help give advice, so that runners or anyone really can come along and think, okay, actually a massage might actually help, so I will give it a try, or physio will maybe help me to get to a point where I feel like, yes, I can run even though someone said I couldn't, sort of thing. So it's sort of having that.
And I think it's not just about, if you're a runner, then you either do strength training, but also to think about all these other support services, which can all, I've interviewed a Pilates teacher and someone who does body movement and that kind of thing, but it's always worth thinking about other areas that can help, enhance or your running, or just think about doing other things. It's not just about the running as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly. So I was going to ask you, Molly, just one more thing, is that because I know doing sports massage, it can put a lot of stress on your body. How do you?
Well, we're sort of trained in a way to look after your hands and your posture. So although it might not feel like it when someone's laying on the bed, we might be in an extreme squat position or lunge position, because that's our way of kind of working on a body to get our sort of technique across properly, but also to look after ourselves. So a lot of people say, your hands must feel really sore, and you sort of think, no, they don't at all, because you're actually looking after your body whilst you're massaging. So,
and you have, and your particular technique also protects you, but as well as you're giving benefit to the client.
Yeah, and it's sort of having a better position that's the right height for yourself, so that you're in those sort of certain positions to be able to sort of provide the pressure and correct motion. So it seems like we probably should look exhausted by the end of the day, but we can keep going.
No, and you look fine.
We can keep going.
Molly said that.
Yeah.
Great. Right. I think you've been brilliant. Both of you have been brilliant today. Thank you very much for your time. Do you got social media too? I mean, I know you've got a website.
Oh, yeah, we have a website, which is St. M's Physiotherapy Co. UK.
Yeah.
And then our Instagram is stmargarets.physio.
Right.
So, yeah, we can easily
be found on there. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And it's always good, not to be doing it sort of in a 2D virtually, as it were, or Zoom or whatever, but it's good to see you guys in person. And please do come along, if anyone's out there, who's listening. Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
And that's a wrap for another exhilarating episode of Brian's Run Pod. Thanks for tuning in, folks. As always, we've got you back with all things running, and next week, get ready for some more awesome beginner hints and tips to kickstart your running journey. Don't forget, you can now send me a message. Yep, you heard it right. Brian's Run Pod has now become interactive with the audience. If you look at the top of the episode description, tap on Send Us a Text Message. You can now tell me what you think of the episode, or alternatively, what you would like covered. If you're lucky, I might even read them out on the podcast. Hey, if you want to keep up with all the latest updates, behind the scenes fun, and even some exclusive content, make sure to follow me on social media. We've also launched a shiny new Facebook page. Just simply search for Brian's Run Pod and give us a like. And don't forget to hop over to Instagram, where you can catch all our visual adventures at Brian's Run Pod. For those of you who love diving deep into the episodes, head over to our website, www.briansrunpod.co.uk, and there you'll find some detailed show notes and handy chapter markers, making it easy to navigate through your favourite discussions. Please leave a review, as it will help others find this podcast. Music is by Happy Day by Stock Audio, not forgetting artwork by Alice Patterson, and also thank you to my producer, Anna Patterson. So, till next week, thanks again for listening.